Your agency needs to be the gold star standard, which means you also have to be checking your endorsements, checking that they came in and checking that they meet the change requirements. So I want to make sure that we think through the idea of the endorsement. It's a big deal. A lot of times people are having a life change. That's why their insurance needs a change. Maybe they're buying or adding a vehicle. They're putting an addition on their home. They're moving. They're selling a vehicle. They're getting divorced. These are big things in people's lives. And for so many times, we sort of just run through a transaction versus an experience. But any change in a person's life is an opportunity, and that's how we have to treat it. So at the end of the endorsement, we need to have a wrap-up process. And I find this to be so critical. So I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. We were going at it, was at an agency I'd worked at for a long time, and we pulled up their lost business list. And we started going through like what had happened. And we started honing in that there was quite a few midterm cancellations on personal lines. When we're looking at these lost policies reports, what we were finding is there was a lot of midterm cancellations. And as we were looking at them, there was one thing that stood out on about 70 to 80% of them, which was 30 days after they changed vehicles, they bought a new vehicle, they'd cancel the policy. And what we found was because of the agency's process, which was a fine process at the time, the person would take the change information, send to the processing team and move on. But no one was talking about the premium change. And that's when it dawned on us that we really need to get in touch with the person. Their auto loan is probably bigger. Then this comes in, no one's having communication. It was a gap in the process. We definitely recommend where you can first call resolution for processes. And then you can tell the person that premium right then and there. Always tell it to them monthly. Can't stress that enough. But if you can't do that, you have to make sure to at least tell them when to expect a bill change. Put an open activity to talk to them about the amount change once it comes in. It's much better coming from you than from a bill in the mail. Discuss any sign-offs and how to get that back. So we highly recommend if you're decreasing coverage that there's a sign-off, or even deleting a vehicle, there should be a sign-off. So you can't do that until that comes in. And so you want to discuss what that looks like to the person. You also want to go ahead and let them know how the carrier is going to get them any updates. So whether that's an e-policy or whether that they should be looking for it in the mail. We also strongly recommend that once you're done with the change, you do send the client an email and say, just want to confirm this is what we did. And actually in our new process pack on 10 ridiculously amazing processes, we actually have an email template you can use. But having that template allows you to just send that out there, make sure it's right. Also great for E&O purposes. You can put it all in there. Now, I think that a lot of times we are sloppy through the process because we're trying to run through it and then the carrier sends something out. But honestly, if we're not checking our endorsements, we don't get that in, the person might just be thinking everything's fine and it's not. Your agency needs to be the gold star standard, which means you also have to be checking your endorsements, checking that they came in and checking that they meet the change requirements. So anytime that there's a change, we have to be able to communicate the premium difference. We have to get back in touch with the client, confirm that this is what they're looking for, and make sure even something as simple as they're buying a new car that they picked up that vehicle. So if you process that change and the transaction didn't go through, which almost happened to me twice while buying cars, if the transactions did go through eventually, but something changed at that closing table, you have yourself a situation on your hands. So make sure your processes and procedures are tight and make sure you have a way to go ahead at the very end, confirm everything with the client, and please tell them that premium. It will save you guys some cancellations in the long run.